Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Elite Racing League here tonight. We are here for the first round of the playoffs here in the ARCA series for the Dega 200 for the 2024 B ARCA Racing Series. Tonight we're racing as Daytona's cousins at Talladega Superspeedway. We'll notice that the weather is going to be about 78 degrees with a humidity of 52, being a cloudy day with not too much wind. And tonight I'll be your commentator, Thomas Coonan, for tonight's all-around coverage. As we see the drivers getting ready tonight, there's a lot of the line being the playoffs just around the corner. But anyway, as we get ready to go green, let's go down through the racing starting lineup. In first place, we got Jeff Ryan on pole for unacceptable racing, with Dustin Durr rounding out in the first row in second position. Jeff Green in third with Tommy Ryan in fourth. JP Phillips in fifth with Andrew Hardcastle in sixth. Corey Abbott in seventh with Dave Carpenter in eighth with Jess Story in ninth with Raymond Hanneman for Street Limit Racing, rounding out the top 10. Leighton Norgard here tonight with starting in 11th with Michael Hossack in the 12th. Kyle Henshaw is going to be starting in 13th with Trevor Hunt in 14th. Carlos Acosta is going to be 15th with Michael Michaka in 16th. Trey Holmes in 17th with Brian Carnigan right next to him in 18th. Jaden Rasimas in 19th with Frank Fody rounding out the top 20 in 20th position. Austin Inabbitt's going to be starting in 21st tonight with Connor Thompson right beside him in the 22nd position, with David Harkleberry and Mitchell Javier right behind them in 23rd and 24th respectively. William White tonight in the 25th position with Clay Mitchell in 26th, Mark Rebellis in 27th with Dustin Haynes for the Street Limit team in 28th. Hunter Smith in 29th with David Woods in 30th. Brennan Ultra in 31st with Gavin Higgins in 32nd. Jay Connor is going to be in 33rd with Dominic Wright right next to him in 34th. Joshua Osborne in 35th with Joshua Personette in 36th. As we are getting to go here with the 36 car field, some information to get rolling off the bat is now the drivers getting ready, doing their pacing laps around this behemoth of a track, being the biggest they'll see all season long. Here, the location is going to be in Talladega, Alabama, locally very close to Lincoln, Alabama, with a length of 2.66 miles. This track will be quite the behemoth it will be for these drivers to drive at brain melting speeds to see how fast and how much control that these drivers will have of their cars tonight, and the best will persevere with coming out with a victory. This track also covers a 3,000 acres of land being constructed to house one of these biggest racetracks you'll ever see in NASCAR, making it one of the biggest masterpieces in engineering to date. As we see the cars just starting to line up here and getting ready to go green as the pace cars lights out, I believe, as it's getting ready to go green here, as we see Ryan on the pole with Durr right beside him in second. As we're getting ready to go green, this race will be spectated to be quite the gladiator match between all these drivers, being the development series and also being quite the big interpretation of having big wrecks. Hopefully the big one doesn't take out too many cars tonight. As remember, folks at home, that the start finish line is going to be not in the tri-oval but right afterwards. In fact, sitting in Geico restart zone as they go green with Ryan on the bottom, Durr on the top. We are going Talladega racing here for the Dega 200 as the lines are starting to simmer out and see if who has the speed over each other. We got Ryan there on the bottom within the number 10 City Chevrolet, harnessing his Cole Trickle from Days of Thunder. As we see Jeff Green on the bottom there, as now everyone is going to be 2x2x2 on the backstretch. Continuing to line it up, and we have some people farther back looking to go 3 wide there, as the 22 of the 22 from Abbott Motorsports looking on the outside. It looked like he's dropping back more likely than actually trying to push forward, as we see the first lap of the race, first lap of the playoffs being completed here tonight, with Tommy Ryan taking the first lap lead in the playoffs. 2x2 they go into turn 2 here, as Ryan gonna be getting a little shove. Dur bucks out as he jumps out to get a little bit of air on that 3rd lane here, as now they're again resettled here with Jeff Green leading that bottom line with Phillips right behind in that number 18 machine. As the top line starting to get a little bit more of a run now with Ryan there on the top. They're starting to get a little bit more speed. Hopefully they can get by them into the bottom. A typical strategy people see here at Talladega is that typically the top line will try to pass the bottom line and see if they can get around. As we see Raymond Hanneman in the 85 machine trying to make it 3 wide with I believe that's one of the Fodies right behind him, is now they're in shot up on the high line. See if they can get pushed to the start here at the front, as we see Hanneman really almost side by side with that 2nd line, as he gets a little loose there coming out of 2. The 85 of Hanneman right there next to Ryan. Really have the speed, really have the momentum to keep it going, as now that 2nd line is starting to get up and going. Ryan is now going to be there in 2nd now, right there in the 2nd lane. The top lane starting to fizzle out with not having too much help from the guys behind them. As we see maybe farther back is that we got some people kind of looking to the outside, see if they can have a little bit more time and a little bit more momentum, as now we looked farther back to where Carlos Acosta is in that 02 car, and we see a lot of people are now taking a little bit of a different strategy here tonight, with a little bit of the strategy looking into maybe we should hang back, let's let everyone up front do their business, and hopefully we don't get caught up, as we see a lot of the drivers trying to save fuel, play conservatively, not get up in the mayhem quite yet, and just spectate from afar. 3x3 they go, as we see Hanneman on top, Ryan in the 2nd row, leading the 2nd row with Jeff Green on the bottom. As we see now that bottom line is starting to inch ever ahead, getting a little bit more momentum in passing the guys up top. As we see Hanneman starting to get a little bit more help, especially from guys like Fodi and Machaca and up in that high line. Also Machaca being from the same team as Hanneman, as now they're starting to gain a little bit momentum. Let's see if they can have a little bit more speed on that top line, see if they can get around those of the 2nd lane and bottom lane. Now we see now they're starting to be more evened out once more, as I believe now Jeff Green's line has kind of died out slightly. Ryan in the 2nd lane has now gained a little bit more speed, and as everyone has been spread out a little bit more, and there's quite a bit of speed, quite a bit of distance between the lines here. Another thing to note, ladies and gentlemen at home, is that this track is, even though they're 3 wide, we might see some 4 wide action here tonight, as this track is used to making up that 4 wide action, as now everyone's getting a little bit squiggly there on the tri-oval, as now the top line had a little bit of a moment, as well as some people from this middle as well, bottom. Everyone's having a little bit of moment, pushing a little hard, trying to get ahead of each other, as now we're seeing more of this 3rd line slowly develop more and more, as we see Hanneman leading that top line over the bottom 2 of Ryan and Jeff Green. Jeff Green's line is looking to be a little bit farther behind over Ryan. Ryan's starting to get a little bit of a run. Question is, if Ryan gets clear, will he clear Jeff Green if he has the chance, or will he wait on an opportunity for Dur behind him to make a maneuver behind or jump in front of the bottom line as well? We see that top line is starting to lose a couple drivers, lose a couple people of help, but the bottom line not being quite as organized as they would like to be. Ryan leading that 2nd line here with Dur right behind him, as we see them, they have moments of speed with pushing out ahead, as now we're on lap 7. Still three wide as we go into turn 3 now. Raymond Hanneman still on that top line, Ryan on the bottom. Ryan almost had a little bit of a bumper still with Jeff Green on that bumper there. Almost could have gotten clear, but decides against it and stays in the second line. The top lane kind of fizzling back just a little bit more as we look a little bit farther down into that third or so drivers. They seem like they're starting to get locked up a little bit more as we look across into lap 8. Hanneman starting to gain a little bit more followers, a little bit more help up there. Hopefully that can boost his speed and a little bit more drivers, a little bit more cars to push that top line to get in front now, as everyone's kind of electing to kind of keep it even across all lines so no one is necessarily leading the race up front. A lot of people here, when it comes to Talladega, is they don't necessarily always go for the front because they want to save the fuel. As we saw early in the races, we saw some people kind of spreading about, kind of like Carlos Acosta, Michael Hossack back there, where you could see them. They're kind of spreading out just a little bit more than typically than what they would be in the front of the racetrack or racing pack. As we see him now more even once again, Ryan still leading side by side with Jeff Green. Jeff Green was the leader that last time by, now be on the bottom lane comparatively to those on the top lane, but they are leading side by side. Here they go on the backstretch coming into turn 3. Ryan having a little bit of a more nose in front of Jeff Green. Still 3 wide. Here we go through 3 and 4 now, coming out of 4. Jeff Green still gaining a little bit more momentum over on that bottom line, and with Phillips helping that bottom line, as well as Corey Abbott pushing that line ever more faster. Now on board with Jeff Green. Now is he how good necessarily, how steady you have to keep a wheel, as you see barely much movement of that 38 there on the bottom line with the previous NASCAR Xfinity champion there. And from 2000, I believe, is it 2005? I believe it's 2005. I could be wrong. But you can see how much, like, a small movements that you have to have here at these kind of races. We see Ryan also almost had a moment there to jump down in front of Jeff Green, but not quite ready to go down on that bottom line. But you see, you have to have that that small momentum, or that small kind of change in terms of steering. As now we go in behind with JP Phillips and see their perspective. As you see, now they have to manage with the air and the pushing aspect of it, where you have to be kind of bumper to bumper, but you can't necessarily touch the bumper in the car in front of you, because if you you'll pick the guy up in front of you and kind of spit him out either to the right or left and cause a big wreck. These guys are going to have to manage to be in that bubble as long as possible without fully pushing the extent of their car. As we see, the cars are starting to slowly go 3 wide once more and get even once again, but this bottom line seems like they got things going and seems like they are keeping things together, as Jeff Green being pushed here by Phillips. Looking farther back, you see someone of like Michael Hossack. You see a little bit of a different strategy here, is some of them are staying back and not necessarily kind of pushing fully, but kind of staying within the air, not pushing too hard, saving the fuel, just being here rather than pushing, because sometimes being there and just kind of coasting, you save the tire, you save the fuel, and you're able to push harder towards the end of the races. We'll see, we're on lap 12. We will probably start ending up to be middle halfway or right before halfway. We'll see drivers kind of ending out to do a pit stop. As now Fody has now got turned around, and we don't know what's going on there, but it looks like there's gonna be a caution on the track, as we will take a moment here to look back and see what happened. Here on board for the replay here, as we see Fody pushing Hanneman on the outside lane there in lane 3. Ryan on the second lane, leading the second lane with Dustin Durr in the 32. Looks like Fody was just there, still there, kind of just doing typical actions of driving with in air, but looks like he might have got lifted up from the car behind him and got spun around. If we could see if we could get a better angle on that. Oh yeah, looks like he got spun around, and man, just a all-out carnage. It looks like he got lifted up in the wall, but looks like he was just coasting there. Got a little loose, it looks like, and kind of got lifted up ground, and man, into the catch fence for Frank. I believe that's Frank Foti, or is it? Some reports are saying that he might have blown his order or his motor there. It looks like he blew it and was pushing a little too hard on that outline. Into the catch fence you go, and looks like he's gonna have a rough day coming down pit road and trying to fix that machine. Oh, that looks like it's a day over for the 41 of Foti, as we see. Oh, looks like that's Carlos Acosta on his roof there. Whoa, I wonder how that happened for him. But as the time being, as we wait to see that replay, we see Raymond Hanneman got away kind of scot-free from that. He elects to stay out of the pits to take the pole position of the race. What an interesting play, as Corey Abbott elects to follow suit with Raymond Hanneman there, as well as Jess Story also electing to come out and stay out. As some drivers, such as Abbott, Story, Norgard, Wright, and White, staying out to see if they can gain some more momentum. As now it's going to be a race off pit road to see who will get in front and who will be able to gain positions. Because here at tracks like Daytona and Talladega at the super speedways, track position really matters, because that means you have one less driver to push ahead of or push to be able to make up positions. As we see, looks like Mitchell comes out in 7th, with Dior in 8th, and Green 9th, and Ryan in 10th. As we see, Hanneman is, as we wait for the drivers to get grid up once again, we're gonna roll out for an ad just to pay some bills here for the Elite Racing League.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Flames will burn and sparks will fly at the NHRA Midwest Nationals, September 27th through 29th at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Kickoff race weekend in style with 2 qualifying sessions in one day, plus the can't-miss show of Nitro Under the Lights on Friday, September 27th. Get tickets at WWTRaceway.com with kids 12 and under free and general admission. The NHRA Midwest Nationals, September 27th through 29th at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the first caution of the Dega 200. As looks like we're having a little bit of technical. Oh, there we go. As we see, Hanneman elected to stay out and take the pole position away from the likes of drivers such as Jeff Green and Ryan there. As we see, Dora also gained a couple positions on the pit cycle. Looks like they will be taking the green flag here when it comes around, and looks like I believe we are on the back stretch here when it comes to Talladega, as the looks like we're going to be coming down this time by as the lights are out on the pace car here tonight, and looks like the tally will go on to the 41 for a blown engine. Looks like this is, the reports were correct about the fact that I believe that's Frank Foti had a blown engine and caused to lose out and cause a wreck back there. It looks like that's unfortunate for him. As we are going through 3 and 4, this will be quite interesting to see how will Raymond Hanneman will be able to control this race going forward, with Corey Abbott on the outside there, with Norgard sitting in third and Jesse Story on the bottom in fourth. We see the coming out of four now as we getting ready to go green here. The drivers are going to be gridding up and getting ready to go, as now we can probably see the pace car coming down. There it goes, down, shots down the pit road, as we are getting ready to go green, as they make their way around the tri-oval now. As we see, ooh, looks like the 08 has a little bit of damage. I wonder if that will come into play now, as they're approaching the Geico restart zone. And now we go green, 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 green. Here comes Hanneman, gets off a wonderful start here when it comes to getting the green flag here on lap 16 here and the Dega 200. 2x2 they go into turn one, as we see the Abbott team there on the top line getting a little bit aggressive with the shoving and pushing here to try to see if they can gain the position here, as Corey Abbott getting in the nose out in front of Raymond Hanneman now, as Norgard giving him quite the shove there, as now looks like Abbott is now going to be a little bit clear. Now it's Jeff Green and the 18 of Phillips is going to jump up, and now the Abbott team will take away the pole position away from, looks like there going to be a wreck behind. Will that cause a caution to come out? Looks like we're going to stay green. We saw quite the, oh, and there goes the caution for the second caution of the night. Well, let's look at the replay to see what happened back there. I saw a hood come up into the sky. I wonder what caused that, as now we are going through 3 and 4 here with the 20 of Higgins. Oh, and there we go. Looks like the 20 was trying to avoid a checkup and got lifted up and spun around here onto the inside onto the tarmac. It looks like, I believe, if we can look at that one more time, the car behind him kind of lifted him up and put him into the inside there. Look back a little bit. I believe that's the 19 of Jesse Rasimas is now looking once more from the inside. We saw quite a little commotion up there, but nothing quite severe. But it looks like people checked up, and Jesse was trying to avoid it, and quite frankly just lifted up the 20 of Higgins and spun him around. Even though it looks like everyone's going to be coming out of that pretty okay, and all things considering, what a mild wreck when it comes to Talladega. As we do a little bit more caution laps and see what people are doing here on track, whether they're going to elect to come down pit road to get tires, or rather not even just tires, but maybe just to stay out on the track to see if they can gain positions from those who are going to come down track. It looks like some are looking. Will Hanneman come down? Looks like everyone's going to stay out, elect to stay out on the track to keep track position. A little bit of information about Talladega Superspeedway. So Talladega Superspeedway lives up to its name. Of all the closed circuit motorsports facilities in the world where sanctioned auto races are held, it is the fastest constructed by the France Family's International Speedway Corporation 10 years after Daytona International Speedway. Talladega was built slightly longer at 2.66 miles with a steeper 33-degree banking, in which guaranteed record-setting speeds. The pole speed for NASCAR's first race in 1969 was a stunning 199.466 miles per hour, almost 30 miles per hour faster than the IndyCars were then lapping at Indianapolis Motor Speedway back then. In 1975, Mark Dunho set the world record for speed on the closed course by driving a Porsche 91730 around Talladega Superspeedway at 221.16 miles per hour. Dunhu's world record stood for 4 years before finally being broken at Italy's 7.5 mile Nardo high-speed testing facility. Rule changes in 1987 mean Billy Elliott's 212.809 mile per hour lap will stand forever as a qualifying record at Talladega, and for NASCAR, Talladega Superspeedway is still the fastest track on the schedule. It holds up to a record for the fastest 500-mile stock car race, and at 188.35 104 miles per hour. Mark Martin's winning speed in May of 1997 and produces some of the most exciting fender to fender racing every year. Talladega holds the record for the most leaders in a 500-mile race, which is 26, and the most lead changes as well as 75 at the start and / finish line. But on the last lap, don't ever bet against the driver named Earnhardt. Dale Sr. racked up an amazing 10 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race wins, and Dale Jr. already has 5 to his resume, including the remarkable 4-in-a-row streak in 2002 and 2003. Talladega Superspeedway presents 5 separate racing shows each year as host to the NASCAR's top 3 series and the Automobile Racing Club of America, also known as ARCA. Competing in the high-speed packs at Talladega should prove both challenging and exciting for racers as well. A little bit of history there, as now the drivers have kind of gone 2 by 2 now, getting ready to go green. Hopefully the old rumor of cautions breathe cautions doesn't necessarily apply here to the drivers here tonight, getting ready to go green once more. Still lining up. We still have some stragglers lapping around the track and getting ready to go green, and seeing if those drivers can get back and lined up is going to be critical, as sometimes drivers have a history here of not necessarily making it all the way around the track to reach the starting pack until minutes, or not even minutes, but seconds right before the start of the restart. Let's see how the Abbott team will do tonight with the 21 of Corey Abbott right besides Leighton Norgard there on the outside line, to see what they can do, being the 1-2 of Abbott Motorsports up there, and see if that necessarily causes much controversy, or see if they can control the race by controlling both lines. As we go through 2, 3, and 4, the pace car's lights is out, meaning and indicating that they will go in green this time by, as now they're getting ready to go and getting lined up. They're starting to ever so slightly inch together, getting ready to go bumper to bumper once again around Dega. Corey Abbott, Leighton Norgard, Raymond Hanneman, and Jess Story makes their top 4 drivers here tonight in those top 2 rows. Getting ready, going through this tri-oval, getting ready to go green in that Geico restart zone. Corey Abbott, Leighton Norgard. Here we go, getting ready, getting bumper to bumper they are, getting ready to go green. Here they go, coming into the Geico restart zone, and they are off once again, going green, 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 taking the green flag once again. Corey Abbott getting off to a wonderful start there, getting out in front of a Leighton Norgard, leaving Hanneman out to dry. The Abbott Motorsports team electing to take that outside line, as everyone kind of following suit. Everyone kind of seeing that there's a lot to be said about taking that high line. A lot of the times that line is being taken by next-gen cars in today's Cup Series, as we see William White dive down to the inside, not liking what he's seeing out of the drivers ahead of him, as now everyone is now shuffling and jotting down, and now we see Jess Story jotting to the pole here. The Abbott Motorsports team getting left out to dry, as now we see Dustin Dewar and Jess Story up on the top of the times table with that 29 car taking the lead. The Abbott Motorsports team is now getting hang out to dry there. Now going back several positions, is now Hanneman jumps up to help them to see if they can get something done here, as now Jess Story taking the lead, being his first lap led under green. Farther back, we see drivers are still jotting up and jotting down to see if they can gain momentum or gain laps and gain positions, and see if they can gain what they need to do to be in the right place at the right time. As now we see the 48 of, I think that's Holmes, going up the center, going 3 wide. Now cutting off that 23, I believe, or 30, yeah, I believe the 23 there behind him, and trying to see if he can gain a little bit. Now we see the 73 kind of just right to kind of just let him go up high. That 48's got a full head of steam going forward. Side by side, they continue to go. Trey Holmes being a big mover here off the start, going 3 wide with Wright there on the bottom, as well as Ryan, one of the other Ryans in the race, now kind of taking advantage of the fact that Trey Holmes went to the top line and no one's necessarily helping him because they can always get by on that bottom line when no one's entirely locked up. As you see, in a common theme now is that a lot of the drivers now are trying to keep their distance a little bit, kind of coasting now, as we see now the Abbott team taking the lead now with Corey Abbott once again on the lead, on the pole, on the first place position, leading another lap with Leighton Norgard tonight right behind him. As we see, Hanneman gets loose now into the triangle, into the wall. And now, will that cause a caution? Yes, it does. That's a 3rd caution of the night. Going back to the replay now as we go farther back to see what happened to Raymond Hanneman. We see Jeff Green following Hanneman there. Now going a little bit faster now. Looks like Jeff Green looked on the inside, looked like he was going for a gap that no longer exists, and quite frankly, looks like he just straight up turned Hanneman, and as Hanneman tried to go for a block. Looks like Jeff Green wasn't going to make any accommodations to Hanneman tonight, and it just looks like it's just quite unfortunate for Raymond Hanneman there as he tries to go for a late block, and just gets sent around and into the wall. Quite unfortunate for him tonight. Hopefully we can see the ruling on that, but as of right now, let's cut back to commercial once again for
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Flames will burn and sparks will fly at the NHRA Midwest Nationals, September 27th through 29th at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Kickoff race weekend in style with 2 qualifying sessions in one day, plus the can't-miss show of Nitro Under the Lights on Friday, September 27th. Get tickets at WWTRaceway.com with kids 12 and under free and general admission. The NHRA Midwest Nationals, September 27th through 29th at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Welcome back from commercial, everyone, as now we see Corey Abbott once again on that pole position with Norgard right behind. Looks like they're still making their rounds around, as hopefully we can get a notion by race control pretty soon about what's going on, about what that last incident looked like. But once again, will people come down pit road to get tires? Will people come out to do anything? That's a big question we have a lot of the time. Looks up, there it is. Looks like the 85 will get a tally from that last caution with a late block on Jeff Green. Quite unfortunate that that ended up to practically almost end his day, but hopefully we can see him back on track, putting down some laps, and hopefully can rebound off that incident. But once again, looks like the pace car lights are going to be out, as now everyone's going to be lining up, going 2 by 2 by 2, going back from the front. Corey Abbott is going to be your leader here when it comes down to the restart, with Leighton Norgard right next to him. Dustin Dewar going to be in third position, with Jeff Story going to be in fourth. Jeff Green fifth, with Ryan sitting in sixth in that 10 machine. We got Phillips going to be seventh, with Wright in eighth. Mitchell Javier is going to be in ninth, with Kyle Hanshaw in 10th. Now looking on backwards, let's see who is farther back. We got Michael Machaca is going to be in 11th, with Smith there right next to them. Looks like Huckleberry is going to be starting in 14th and looking farther even than that. Let's see. I think that's Jesse Rasimas in 15th, and looks like going farther back is going to be Jay Connor in that number 9 car, starting in 16th on this next restart. Then we got Brandon Ultra in 17th there, starting there on this next restart. We got Gavin Higgins in the 18th position in that number 20, and Brian Carnigan in 19th, with William White rounding out that top 10. And now as we go back to the front of the grid now, as we getting ready to go green, looks like the pace car is now going to be coming out of turn 4 now, getting ready to jot down that pit road, beeline it to its pit stall, and let these drivers duel it out, as now the crowd standing up and getting ready for approval of this race start. The crowd going wild, everyone's on their feet, as now all the cars are getting ready to go racing once more. Corey Abbott, remember, it's going to be your starter here, with Norgard on that bottom in the second lane, or that bottom lane there. As we getting ready to go green once again, and through the Geico restart zone, we go green once more. Corey Abbott takes the green once again. Off to a big start there, Corey Abbott is. Now he's going to jump to the bottom right after the start-finish line. Ooh, a little bit of a wiggle there from the Higgins back there, but we stay green, keep it clean. Dustin Dorr is now going to be the leader of that outside lane, with Jeff Green pushing him on the outside. It's going to be Corey Abbott, Leighton Norgard, and Jeff Story on that bottom line, pushing to see who can lead the most laps here tonight. Looks like that bottom line has everything figured out a little bit more, as that top line still struggling to figure it out, still losing some time. As now everyone is now trying to jostle and joust for those positions, as we see some people farther back kind of laying it cool, and see if they can keep it easy on these first restart laps. As it looks like everyone's a little bit timid at the moment to go all out on these races now, just because of the fact of it being a super speedway. Looks like the 2 lanes have ironed themselves out once again, getting ready to go 2 by 2. Will we see anyone try to go 3 wide once more here at Talladega? The Abbott team of Corey Abbott and Leighton Norgard going right behind each other, still leading once again here at Dega. As we see Mitchell Javier, looks like he jumped to the tie line, not doing too much there. Looks like he jumped out trying to start a lane. Looks like no one went to him, and seems like he's gonna have to jump back down to the second lane to see if he can gain the momentum once more. Some drivers looking through the midfield. Looks like everyone is getting things ironed out. Looks like everyone is going pretty smoothly here. Looks like Mitchell Javier still trying to look on the outside to see if we got any more opportunities or momentum to see if they can push forward to the front. Still continuing to drive it smooth. Here's Dustin Dewar and Jeff Green getting a little loose there on entry of 3 as we were getting close to 30 laps to go here on lap 28. Going by it one more time, we'll be getting to 1 till 30 laps of the race completed. As we still going 2 by 2, looks like the outside lane has gained a little bit more momentum here on the outside lane. On that second line, looks like the pushing is a little aggressive. And it looks like that the Abbott team just seems like they're just hooked up way better than it seemed like that top lane is. Seems like some people are electing to keep it cool. Some people looking to keep it aggressive. Hopefully we don't see any more blown engines as we see Raymond Hanneman after his kerfuffle there on the last caution. He's back up here with the main pack, still fighting strong. It's good to see that street limit 85 is still back in the race, still racing for position, still going. Looks like Raymond Hanneman always electing for that high line. No one can blame him, as there's a lot of potential if he gets the run. Looks like he has a run coming on that high line. Looks like the 23 of Ryan pushing hard, pushing Raymond past everyone on that bottom line. Looks like he's going to be side by side with Phillips. Looks like he's only got 3 more cars to go before he's leading laps here once again at Talladega. Looks like Trey Holmes jumps up to the high line. Looks like he's going to follow suit with those up there. But looks like the wiggle of the middle line kind of threw off that high line just a little bit, but still keeping its momentum there on that third line. Looks like now they're getting close to being bumper to bumper, getting to the bumper of Jeff Green there. Looks like they're getting a huge shove. Now they're 3 wide now. It's 3 wide, 3 by 3 by 3. Here we go as Raymond Hanneman leading the top line, Dustin Dorr leading the second line, and Corey Abbott leading that bottom line. As now they're making it around to turn 1 and 2. We are on lap 31. We've made it past the 30 lap mark here at Talladega. As we see the guys farther back in the field are leading with a more conservative approaches. Now we're approaching a lapped car. I believe that is Carlos Acosta on the apron. Looks like the top line has fizzled out just a little bit, with that bottom line now gaining a lot more momentum and a lot more unity there, as Dustin Dior is going to elect to slide in right in front of Corey Abbott there just to get a little bit more edge. Now we're going to see, will Corey Abbott push Dustin Dorr, or will he kind of keep it low and keep Dustin Dorr from gaining too much? Jeff Green leading that second line now, as now everyone is getting together and getting unified for some amazing pushes here tonight, as now Raymond Hanneman now still leading that outside line, electing to stay out there and hopefully gain more positions. Now they're getting back 3 wide once more here, coming it through 3 and 4. Looks like Dustin Dorr still leading the race here, with the second line of Jeff Green still leading that second line. Coming to lap 33, everyone is just in position, just in up and down the track, see if they can gain ever so slightly. Looks like Hanneman leads a lap there coming into the green flag. Hanneman is now leading the race here at Talladega. Looks like that outside line still has a lot more momentum in it, as much as those bottom 2 lines. Now they're going to be 3 wide here. Once again, almost even, bumper to bumper here on the backstretch. Dustin Dewar leaving that inside line, gaining a little bit more momentum, having an edge over Jeff Green there. Corey Abbott doing a great job pushing Dustin Dorr in front of Jeff Green. Question is, will Dustin Dewar kind of jump up to block Jeff Green if Jeff Green gets the run? Will he play the game of changing lines? Looks like he's just going to stay and elect to stay in that bottom line, as now Jeff Green gets a huge run now into that second lane, now almost ahead of that bottom line. Dustin Dorr right there. Raymond Hanneman still having a little bit of a struggle to get up there to the front, but it looks like he just might have enough help back there. Oh, looks like everyone behind him is now electing to go into that second line. Now that top line is losing speed, but now looking back to the front, now we see Dustin Dorr still leading the race, with Jeff Green still leading that second line. Still 2 by 2 here. Nothing much quite going, but now they passed that lapped car there on the apron. Things are starting to simmer out just a little bit, as now everyone's electing the lanes they want to stay in. And even though Talladega has 4 lane capabilities, a lot of these drivers don't necessarily want to utilize all that track. They want their space, they want this time, they want the reflex time to be able to make corrections of the laps they have without causing too much of an issue. As we're going down the back straightaway, we got Dorr still leading that bottom line with Jeff Green. Looking farther back, we can see a lot of the drivers. Once again, I've always talked about this during this broadcast, but it looks like a lot of people in the farther back are still going with that strategy of taking it easy, keeping the distance from the main pack just to make sure they don't lose the draft and just stay just enough into the draft where they can save fuel and not push too hard. Looks like that second line is a little bit more organized currently, gaining momentum over that bottom line. Question is, will Jeff Green jump to the bottom now if he gets the edge? Raymond Hanneman once again on the back bumper of Green there on the top lane. Looks like he got a little bit more help as now Jesse Rasimas hit the wall there coming out of 2. Will that hinder the top line's capabilities? Now the top line and the bottom line kind of outmaneuvering and outspeeding the middle line. Is now the middle line is going to have to fight profusely to gain more momentum. Jeff Green side drafting Raymond Hanneman there, trying to gain ever so slightly on that top line to make sure that top line is still in check regardless of the advances they are making, trying to gain the positions. Dior having quite the lead over Jeff Green. Jeff Green gaining once again a grand push from Ryan there in the 10 of Ryan behind him, giving him a good shove, going side by side again with Dior. Another question we must be asking ourselves is Jeff Green and Dustin Dior working together to control these lines to prevent them from getting out of hand? Are they controlling the race to completely make sure that there's nothing going on and nothing finicky going on with other people trying to gain positions? Now Dustin Dior looking to block the outside lane. Now he's going to be hanging out to dry there on the middle lane. Jeff Green is going to have to jump out to the outside, being pushed by Raymond Hanneman. Dustin Dior got pushed out of the bottom line by Corey Abbott, now put with Norgard. Abbott taking the lead once again as that Abbott Motorsports team pushing really hard. It's now they're 4 wide again for the first time here at Dega, and it looks like they sorted out, and looks like that was a scary moment for the drivers of Trey Holm there. Looks like that was one hell of a moment there for them as they caused themselves to get a little bit loose there, and looks like everything's gonna be all right here coming back around the track. It looks like Trey Holmes is gonna jump in front of Raymond Hanneman there on the outside line to try to see if he can get a shot to going to the front, as now he's going back to the second lane. 2 by 2 they go. Looks like Norgard and Abbott are electing to go with the plan of playing the game of controlling lines, as now Norgard is going to be on that outside line, and now Abbott is going to be on that bottom. 2 by 2 they go. Looks like everything is simmered down as we are getting nearing, or have we passed? Looks like we have passed the halfway mark now. So will these drivers have enough fuel for the rest of the race? That is a big question. Will they have enough fuel, or are they pushing too hard to try to gain more positions? Abbott on that bottom line, Norgard on that second line, is now Trey Holmes now pushing hard, coming up hard on that high line, getting a good shove from Raymond Hanneman in that number 85 Street Limit machine. Trey Holmes now having an edge. Will he lead a lap? Yes, he does. Trey Holmes leads a lap here at lap 40. Making it another consecutive leader, as now Trey Holmes jumps across the nose of Leighton Norgard, taking away that bottom line. Now it's going to be Trey Holmes leading the pack here on that bottom line. Leighton Norgard leading the second line, and Raymond Hanneman leading that third line on the outside there. Looks like the outside seems to have a little bit more help than that bottom line, just by one car, and one car sometimes can make the difference here at Talladega. Trey Holmes leading that bottom line, doing wonders with the Corey Abbott pushing him, and seems to be as they are riding on glass there with any moment, as now they go 3 wide. There's a moment, and looks like Jeff Green pushes away, and Leighton Norgard pushing them out of line, as now Leighton Norgard, now they're 4 wide here coming into turn 1. Leighton Norgard being in a position no one wants to be. Raymond Hanneman on that high line, right spreading the needle on that eye line is now. They're still 4 wide. They're still going 4 wide here. Is now Leighton Norgard trying his best to hold his line, not to falter anymore. As now it's going to be Hanneman on the outside. Trey Holmes leading in that second line. Corey Abbott on the first line. Is now they're 4 wide still here coming into turn 3 and 4. Corey Abbott leading with Jeff Story having help behind Trey Holmes in there in the second line. Leading that second line is now Jeff Green pushing Leighton Norgard out of the way. Is now they continue to be 4 wide here at Talladega Super Speedway. Raymond Hanneman leading that outside line now. Is now we see Corey Abbott still leading there on the bottom. Trey Holmes in the second line. It looks like now they're going to start to settle out here from being 4 wide. What a mess that was. It could have been all lights out for multiple drivers, and that would have caused multiple drivers to have their day over. Looks like the nerves have cut back on all the drivers, and it seems like they're going 2 wide here from the lapped car here on the apron there. Looks like everyone is electing to take a breather here from the 4 wide nuisance that it was. Now we see everyone getting the grasp with reality here. Is now Leighton Norgard's going to possibly slide into that second line with to see if he can get back to his teammate of Corey Abbott to the front there. It's Trey Holmes leading with Jeff Green's help on that second line. It looks like everyone's looking to see if they can make a third line once again. Looks like they're coming up on another lapped car of Carlos Acosta once more. As now we're getting ready to go in turn 3. Looks like everyone is now they're getting a little frisky again. Looks like the top line is starting to form once again, as now some drivers are electing to go to that high line, see if they can gain ever so more. Pushing up there on the high line, Trey Holmes will be leading another lap, looks like, coming around the tri-oval. Ryan in the 10 of Ryan is now going to be leading that top line. It's now that bottom line. It looks like it's dying out slightly. Looks like the Trey Holmes and Jeff Green might jump down to the bottom here as they do. Yep, it looks like Trey Holmes jumps down, and will Jeff Green complete? Yep, there it goes. Jeff Green completes the jump down in front of Corey Abbott. That leaves Justin Dorr to lead the second lane, as now Ryan in the 10 of Ryan leading the top lane once again. Now drivers are trying to figure out what lane to follow. Looks like that second lane has been pretty okay, but that outside lane looks like they have been having some speed out there on the high lane. Trey Holmes still leading that bottom line, is now the middle line of Dustin Dewar leading that line. It looks like they have a little bit of an edge, a little bit better shove from the guys behind them. Is now they're side by side with the top line with the 10 of Ryan. Now as we see, will Dustin Dewar jump to the bottom, is now Leighton Norgard forcing the issue, trying to see if he can force a mistake from Dustin Dewar, making him get split either way, one way or another, is now they are getting filed back together once again. And looks like from coming ahead, looks like there'll be another gaggle of cars, left cars ahead of them as we come around through 3 and 4 once again. Is now the action has kind of simmered. We can see that everyone is starting to enact their strategies or commit to their strategies even more. The drivers who've been fighting up front, taking the lead away as much as possible, trying to control from the front. But we also see some drivers farther back trying to still commit to that easier, laid-back racing style. Is now Raymond Hanneman. We find Raymond Hanneman on that high line once again, leading up there, trying to see if he can gain positions up there as well. Trey Holmes bottom, Dustin Dewar second. Looks like Trey Holmes gets more help from the bottom, and Dustin Dewar is going to be left out to dry, as now Ryan follows Hanneman to the second line. Looks like Dustin Dewar got shuffled back by no choice of his own. And now we are going once more around the tri-oval. And I believe this is a perfect time, as now everyone is getting simmered down to do some sponsor reads for tonight's race. For the sponsors of the 2024 ARCA series, we got Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand toward the victory lane. Don't spin your wheels. Accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small business to win big. Worldwide Technology Raceway. Worldwide Technology Raceway is a motorsport racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri. It features a 1.25 mile oval that hosts the NASCAR Cup Series and NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and the NTT IndyCar Series, as they have a 2-mile infield road course used by Speed Tour, Trans Am, SCCA, and the Porsche Club of America. The quarter-mile NHRA sanctioned drag strip that hosts the annual NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series Midwest Nationals events. And finally, they have Kartplexes and a state-of-the-art karting facility. Another sponsor for tonight is 4D Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racers by sim racers. 4D sim racing shoes are custom engineered to connect racers with the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, and still provide a comfort needed for those double and triple stints. Visit 4dracewear.com and check out the original racing gloves for your feet. And the series sponsor is Pit Pass Network. PitPassNetwork.com is your home for all things motorsports, from news, reviews, and interviews. Pit Pass Network has got you covered, as those are our sponsors, and they make what the series is today. Without them, we can host such events. As now we get cut back to the action here, as we see Trey Holmes has made his way to the second lane there, leading that lane, as well as Dustin Deere still finding his way to the front of the pack on that bottom line. Dustin Deere on the bottom, Trey Holmes on the top, as we see now everyone still finding their way to iron out where they want to be necessarily on the track, as we are now on lap 51. Or is that lap 50? I believe that's lap 50. Still 2x2x2. Here we go, as we see a lot of the drivers are now trying to find their groove here, as now we see some drivers now forcing the up high there, as now the 23 of the other Ryan in the race is now trying to go 3 wide, now with Phillips following behind, as we see they're trying to see if they can take their hand and see if they can take away positions, as well as take away the potential of doing well tonight, as hopefully they can get around the leaders and put themselves in the lead here. 3x3, here we go. We see Brian up there on the top. We see Trey Holmes on the second line, and looks like Dustin Deere on that bottom. Dustin Deere still leading the race here, as now we are making a way around, and it looks like drivers they have been starting coming in for their pit stops, trying to see if they can make it the most of it. Looks like the Abbott team opted to come in last time, or a couple laps ago, and looks like they are getting caught back up with the field, as now they wreck, and now they're going to be into each other, and there's a car on top of each other. What a disaster it would be for those drivers, as now we go back to the flashback now, as we see Dustin Deere goes for a block and force Trey Holmes to go down there. Dustin Deere tries to go up, and then Mitchell Heavier changes lane a little too late and causes mayhem from behind. Let's go back a little bit more and see what happened even more from that point of view, as we go back to regular speed, as now looks like the 85 was there on the bottom, and looks like Heavier just hook a left there and got into the 85 and lost. The 85 doesn't look too great. Hopefully that damage is not too severe. Looks like Hanneman caught in a second wreck of the night. Quite unfortunate for him, as that caught a lot of other drivers as well and causing issues. We'll hopefully see the ruling on that eventually, as now hopefully we can go for a short commercial break here to pay bills a little bit longer.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, everyone, as we are still under caution as we come back from commercial. We'll be pulling up a driver from the track to see if we can get their point of view on what's going on the track. Oh, as one moment. Leighton Norgard, this is Thomas Coonan up in the booth. You got a copy?
Sure do, Thomas.
Leighton, looks like you guys came down for a pit there, and it looks like you're on a strategy. How's that strategy working out for you guys currently?
Well, the timing of that yellow, it cycled us to the front, so it's working about as well as it could have. With the way that the fuel was working out, we were going to be able to one-stop this, and that's the only pit stop I've made so far, so it's looking good for the moment.
Absolutely. How's it been looking there from your point of view down in the racetrack with the big packs as they are currently at Talladega, as there's been a couple four-wide instances on the track? How's that been from your perspective?
It's been a little scary. There have been some sketchy moves for sure, but they've usually worked out.
Alrighty, and it looks like your teammate also got involved with that last incident. Looks like he's going to be out of the race for the most part. Is that gonna change the strategy for you at all, or is that going to be business as usual for you guys here as you guys are lapping around through turn one here currently?
It takes away my drafting partner for sure, but overall strategy remains the same. Just going to try and stay near the front, avoid any trouble, and hopefully make it to the end.
Alrighty, thanks for the chat, and Leighton Norgard. There you go, Leighton Norgard driving the number 12 for Abbott Motorsports. Thank you, Leighton.
Thanks.
As it looks like we got another driver in the infield care center, as we'll bring up Raymond Hanneman from the infield care center to see what he's doing down there. Raymond Hanneman, this is Thomas Coonan up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got a copy.
Raymond Hammond, looks like you had an unfortunate event, having that last wreck being short of nothing of your fault there. Just something bad that happened once again. How do you feel?
It just seems like it's the same thing every week. It's can't get out of the slump I'm in right now. It kind of just sucks.
Absolutely. It looks like you had quite the fast car tonight, though, running that top lane, and looks like you kept your nerves pretty much in check and pushing that line. What did it take to lead that outside line there?
Big set of kahunas. No, honestly, it's just you gotta just persevere and you gotta push through it. Everyone's not trying to work with you here. It's a lot of the big dogs working together and a lot of the newer guys trying to make a name for themselves, right? So as long as you get a lot of the small guys behind you, definitely can make a big name for yourself out here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Is there any good shout outs you want to do right currently as we're getting ready to go green here?
Got to thank the Street Limit team. I got to thank the crew app, Boost the North, and Walt for the amazing paint schemes for tonight. I got to thank you guys for coming out.
Alrighty, and good luck next week, Raymond Hanneman, in your endeavors here in the ARCA series. We'll see you next week racing in the ARCA series. As we're getting go green, you have a wonderful day, Raymond.
Awesome. Thanks, Thomas.
As we're going green once again, Smith leading here from the lead here, as now we see, looks like Jeff Story is going to be leading that outside line, as now we see Wright in the second place, leading that line over the outside line. As we're coming around to 22 to go, tensions are going to be high, as now drivers are pushing harder, pushing ever more to see if they can gain the positions to win here at Talladega, as meaning a win can mean the difference of winning a championship or losing one. As we see, the second line is a little bit more staggered, but slightly more put together than that bottom line. We see Jay Connor electing to follow up there. As now we look back to the front, where Jess Story is going to push from a Leighton Norgard. Trey Holmes jumps to the outside, jump in front of the Abbott Motorsports machine of the 22 of Hardcastle. As now they're going 3 wide once again here at Talladega, going on to lap 21. Jeff Story leading that second line with Smith on the bottom. Trey Holmes on that outside line, finding himself once again up there in the mix, up in the front. Leighton Norgard pushing Jeff Story, trying to get them ever more an edge on that second line over the bottom line. The 54 of Smith leading the bottom line, is now the Trey Holmes gets a massive shunt from Hardcastle on the outside line. Will he elect to go to the bottom? No, he won't. He elects to stay on the top line, as now they're pushing harder, trying to get around each other to try to get more positions. 3 wide, we still are, as now they're getting a little squiggly up there on the top line, as now Hardcastle pushes harder to gain the positions. Looks like Abbott Motorsports is the second car in each line, pushing to see if who can get an advantage here tonight at Talladega. As we see Smith leading the laps, leading the lines here at the bottom line here, finding himself in the prime position to be leading this race, as now Jeff Story still in that second line, leading that second line with Leighton Norgard giving him a good push. They're doing their best, trying to gain position, as now we see people farther back in the race, trying to space themselves out, not push too hard, not put themselves in danger of wrecking here tonight, as it has put many drivers out of the race. And Leighton Norgard pushing hard on Jeff Story on that second line there, is now Trey Holmes getting a surge from Hardcastle on the high line there on the third line on top. 3 by 3 they go into turn 1. They still are adjusting for those positions, adjusting for all they can, gaining as much as they can, pushing hard as they can to try to gain as much as they can. Tensions could never be higher here, as it's the first race of the playoffs here at Talladega. Never much when it comes to Talladega, but when it's in the playoffs, all is on the line when it comes to a super speedway. Leighton Norgard pushing hard to try to see if Jeff Story can gain the position, gain as much as he can. But now everyone's still dead even in a dead even heat here at Talladega. As we come around to another lap down, drivers Jeff Story now leading a lap here at Talladega, and that second line has surged forward, gained more momentum. Will Jeff Story jump to the bottom line? No, he doesn't. He elects to stay in front of Leighton Norgard. As now we see Trey Holmes trying to gain the position, gain the speed, as now we see a lot more shuffling now happening farther back in the track. As now farther back we see more adjusting around, as now Trey Holmes is now ahead. Trey Holmes trying to see if he can get a position. Trey Holmes jump down to the second line, as now Hardcastle giving him a huge shove, as now that lane has died out once again, jumping farther back. Will the people jumping up, trying to gain positions, will be jumping up to push that outside line? Will we see 4 wide here? No, we won't. It stays 3 wide here at Talladega. Jeff Story on the second line here, dead heat with the car on the bottom and the car on the top. It's a dead even heat between the 3 wide in the first row, second row, third row. The bottom line finding themselves edging out, as Michael Chimichaka, the lapped car, jumping to the bottom to let these leaders by. As now they go even more faster. Looks like now the cars are lining up on the bottom of in the top. The second line losing cars lap after lap. Will this affect the speed that these drivers have in that second line? As now we see Jay Corner jumping to the second line there, trying to gain positions. Trey Holmes now losing out momentum. Now they're going to be 2 by 2 by 2 in the front, gaining, losing, and staying the same in all different kinds of manner. As we see one jumping up and in front of Jay and Trey Holmes, and that being Inabit in that number 60 machine from Lake Norman Motorsports. That bottom lane proving to be the strong lane here tonight, as now that bottom lane of Smith is now gaining positions. Now almost has a half a car length ahead of the second lane and third lane combined, as now the second lane is now jumped back and is now side by side here with the likes of Smith. Story now with Smith side by side coming into out of 4 here on this front straightaway. Coming into the tri-oval here tonight, we have them going across through the Geico restart zone, completing another lap. 15 to go. Here we go at Dega 200. 3 by 3, they're in the dead heat once again. As now we have a new face of Inabit in the top lane here in that 60 Lake Norman machine. Jeff Story in the second position, trying to gain as much as he can as Inabit now edging ahead. Will he be able to jump down and gain the position? Will he be able to gain that much needed push from Trey Holmes? Is now no. Now they're going to be 4 wide here slightly for a moment, and now they're going to have to elect to go back to 3 wide, the more safer option here, as now the top lane has died down. The bottom 2 lanes have now gone back to a dead even heat, as now the likes of Ryan in that number 23 machine has jumped to the top to see if he can gain and give it a shot on that top lane to gain as much position as he can. Story in that second lane trying to defend against the top lane as well as try to attack that bottom lane. You see much side drafting between the bottom and the top. Try to see if they can gain as much as they can. Smith on that bottom line defending, trying to keep the momentum with Wright pushing that the likes of the 54 of Smith. The 29 of Story now looking to be upper head of 54. The 12 of Leighton Norgard now pushing Story ever so slightly. Will Story jump to the high line? No, he elects to stay in the second line. Smith now on the bottom line trying to defend against the push, the legendary push of Norgard here on the second line. Story now looking to go to the bottom. He's going to go to the bottom. He's going to try to clear. Looks like they both clear. They go to the bottom line. Leighton Norgard gets clear of Smith. Now it's going to be Jeff Story. He's going to be in the front of the bottom line with Leighton Norgard here on the second, as now there's just 13 laps to go. Jesse Rasimas now is going to be in the second lane here tonight, leading that second lane. Now that second lane is going to be died out, as now they're going to be 3 wide farther back, but now it's going to be all eyes on Jeff Story up front leading the race now, as now the bottom line has gained much more cars, much more momentum over the top 2 lines here tonight, as now we see they're 1 by 1 by 1 up to the 3rd row. We see now J.D. Rasimas now in the second line trying to gain as much as he can, trying to push with the likes of the 46 of Hanshaw. Will Hanshaw push fast, and will Hanshaw push 19? No, the 19 gets put behind the 73 of Wright. Wright jumps up in front of the 19. Now the second line is now gaining momentum once again. Now they're going to be side by side once again. Now there's a wreck. The 54 gets turned around into the 18 of Smith. And there's going to be a 5th caution of the night, as now we are getting ready to go look at the replay, see what happened. Now on the replay, we can see there's a lot more tension here on the track here, as now the 46 side by side with Justin Dewar is now, it looks like they're going to get a look, as now Justin Dewar looks to go up to the second line, goes up, hits the 46, and the 46 gets turned into 54 of Smith, and it looks like it's all hats off from there. And it looks like everyone else collected in that wreck was just passengers of that wreck. As we look from a different position from Higgins now in the number 20 car, as now we look forward, we see that the Justin Dewar comes up, hits the likes of Hanshaw, and the Hanshaw comes down and hits this 54 comes up and hits the likes of everyone up top, and everyone gets corrected collected in that wreck. Like Michael Hossack gets involved, as well as Gavin Higgins, as several others get involved with that wreck. As now there's 11 to go here tonight of the Dega 200. We will go side by side on commercials today as it comes to the closing pacing laps of the Dega 200.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the final laps, the closing laps, in fact, of the Dega 200. As we are lapping around the track, let's talk about some more fun facts and history about this track, as these drivers are racing around some historical NASCAR history here tonight, with the likes of this track being quite of the age that it is. Some interesting facts is that this track was actually used quite a lot in terms of movie producing back in the days, such as the movies such as Days of Thunder and Talladega Nights, which is this track is much known for, as now we can get across from race control, is that there's no tally from the 32 or 46 as they are going for the same position or the same location on the track, causing that previous wreck. But back to what we were saying about this track having much known history with movies, as a lot of producers have come to this track to look for some big movie plots that could happen, such as Days of Thunder, where Cole Trickle comes back after like a horrible injury from the farther back earlier in the season, as well as we see the likes of Shake and Bake from Talladega Nights, where Ricky Bobby would have to fight against Jean Girard for his title from after injuries. It seems like with any movie regarding Talladega, there's always some sense of injury at stake, as this track is known for causing many different kind of injuries over the years to drivers. It looks like now we will look at the drivers here tonight, as now we look at, Wright is now leading the track race for Abbott Motorsports, so Leighton Norgard starting second, Jesse Rasimas in third, with Tommy Ryan in fourth, Kyle Henshaw in fifth, with Hardcastle in sixth, rounding out that top three rows. Connor Thompson now going to be in seventh, as Trey Holmes is going to be in eighth here tonight. Jess Storr is going to be here in ninth, with the 98 of David Woods here going to be starting there on the 10th position, as now Austin Inabit is going to be starting in 11th here for Lake Norman Motorsports, as Mitchell Javier is going to be starting in the 12th position. Now we look up, we see Jay Connor starting in 13th. Michael Hossack now looking to be in 14th position, as we see Mark Rebellas there in 15th position, with Jeff Green starting as besides. As now Gavin Higgins is now making his jot back up to his respected position, as now JP Phillips is going to be in 18th. Farther back, we see Dustin Haynes, quite the mover tonight, with up to 19th position here for Street Limit Racing, as Brandon Ultra coming around the track trying to catch the field in that number 45 machine in 20th position. Is now we're down to 20 cars, as rather we started the race with 36 tonight. We're down to 20 as now the drivers are coming around the track with the pace car lights are out, getting ready to go green once more. Remember that the tensions tonight are going to be quite high as now drivers are fighting for points, fighting for position, trying to see all they can gain to see what they can do to move to the next portion of the playoffs and go for that championship. As now the crowd is now standing in applause, getting ready to go green here tonight at Talladega, hopefully for the last time tonight with 9 to go. Right, leading in the number 73 for Abbott Motorsports with Leighton Norgard on the outside. Abbott Motorsports lockout currently in the top 2 positions. As now we're going through the Geico restart zone. We go green, 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 green once again here at Dega. Wright's leading once more. Now gets off to a marvelous start. Jesse Rasimas playing catch up with Hanshaw up behind ever so slightly. Norgard now going to be leading that outside line now with Brian pushing, trying to see if he can get that line going up once more. Hardcastle now trying to play catch up with Trey Holmes, as well as everyone beyond Hanshaw there is going to be trying to gain position and gain speed to try to see if they can gain what they need to go around the outside or even try to gain what they need. As now Hanshaw jumps to the outside line, he's electing is that going to be the line to be gaining position. As now Hanshaw has slowed down that line, now it's going to be just 2 cars leading, going to be packed up together on the outside line. Might consider holding that line up as now Leighton Norgard still leading that line up there as Wright is now still leading that bottom line. Rasimas pushing hard, trying to get that 73 to go. Trey Holmes jumps up to the high line, trying to start that 3rd line, trying to get it going. Leighton Norgard's now still leading that 2nd lane. The Leighton Norgard was up clear just for a moment. Will he jump down to the bottom? We'll see. Leighton Norgard's looking like he's going to elect to stay in that 2nd lane. Looks like the Abbott Motorsports team is going to be holding it out. As now Hanshaw jumps to the front of Trey. As now it makes someone hits the farther back. It looks like Jay Connor hits the wall on the backstretch. Looks like everyone's going to be jousting for position now. Is now going to be 3 wide. Will Hanshaw be able to get the help of Trey Holmes to get up to the front? Looks like that outside line does not have the help that it needs. Looks like Leighton Norgard's going to have a good push from Ryan from behind. Hardcastle in that 3rd row there, trying to push his teammates, helping a friend of a friend try to get to a lead here tonight. As now we see the 60 of Inabit here up on that high line, getting help from Hanshaw, getting help from Trey Holmes. Will we see that high side work once more? As now we see Wright still leading on that bottom line. Now Norgard, 2nd lane. Are they going to be side by side here, coming through turn 2 onto the backstretch here once again with 6 to go. Norgard leading the pack once more onto that backstretch. Now they're going to be dead even heat. Still once more coming into turn 3. In a bit, going to be on the outside. Now they're going to be turning. Now they're going to be wrecking. They're wrecking now into 3 and 4. Now there's going to be a huge wreck. The big one happens. The big one hits here at Talladega. Hardcastle around. Now that means a 6th caution of the night will happen. What a disaster it is for some of those racers farther back in that 3rd row as they get collected in a huge wreck tonight from farther back. As we see the 22 of Hardcastle going around. Nope, it looks like the 19 taps the 23 of Ryan and collects the 23, collects everyone else from farther back. The 46 of Hanshaw looks like he gets around. Scott Free is out 30, also gets Scott around Scott Free as we look one last time from this point of view. As we see now the 23 is holding his line. The 19 comes up, hits the 23 and taps Ryan and collects all the drivers around. As now some of them now gonna be out of the race. Unfortunate for those drivers. As we see the drivers now gonna be hopefully be able to come down pit road and gain the repairs necessarily to do a great job and can finish this race tonight, as that could be detrimental for certain drivers here. Wright still leading the race. As we get ready to go green or get everyone lined up, we're going to go for one final break here from the Elite broadcast tonight, as we'll hopefully get to pay some bills once again.
Flames will burn and sparks will fly at the NHRA Midwest Nationals, September 27th through 29th at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Kick off race weekend in style with 2 qualifying sessions in one day, plus the can't-miss show of Nitro Under the Lights on Friday, September 27th. Get tickets at www.raceway.com with kids 12 and under free and general admission. The NHRA Midwest Nationals, September 27th through 29th at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Welcome back, everyone, as now we see them pace. The cars are pacing once again on the back straightaway as we're rounding to believe it's going to be 3 to go, with Dom and Wright leading it for the Abbott Motorsports team in that 73 machine, with a Leighton Norgard going to be on the outside. As race control reports have come in, as now the tally will go on to 19, as the 19 of Jesse Rasimas came up and hit the 23 of Ryan, causing the last big wreck of Talladega. Looks like that's gonna hurt him a little bit, as it's now gonna be a lot of the fast cars here tonight are gonna be out of position to gain much here, as we looks like we have a driver in the infield care centers. Now we're gonna bring him up here to see what's going on. All right. This is Thomas Coonan in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Absolutely. As we saw the big wreck happen that last lap, what was going through your mind to see what happened there tonight?
I think I'm in a... What? Sorry. I'm in the wrong broadcast. My bad. I want a different pace, just not
No
this one.
biggie.
Sorry, guys.
Alrighty, I can always move you back. All right, looks like that was not a driver. It looks like that was just a random spectator in the infield care center, as it looks like the interviewers or the broadcast team in the infield care center thought it would be a great idea to see what a fan had to say on the events of tonight. As we look now, it sees the pace cars lights are out once again, as now the 73 car of Wright leads the field to green, with a Leighton Norgard on top here tonight, with the help of the 60 of Inhibit on the bottom line will be helping him, who will helping Wright here to see if he can get him to go solidly fast here. As we see also Hanshaw will be helping Norgard on that top line. Question is, as we're getting ready to go green here, coming together, everyone's getting stacked up, the question is, how hard will these drivers here tonight be pushing? Will they be pushing as hard as they can to gain as much as they can to see if they can gain the position, or will some just kind of just slide and push someone and hopefully they wreck the person wreck in front of them, to hopefully they can pick up the pieces to see if they can help them gain positions? Now, as we lap around through 3 and 4 pace car, like I said, the pace car lights are out tonight. Is now the 73 will take the lead here tonight, as the restart car, or the control car of the restart, is now the fans once again back on their feet, getting ready to go green here, as now they're going to be feeling the energy of this crowd, as now tensions have never been higher here as the first race of the playoffs. The drivers competing for the positions, competing for the points. Everything's on the line here at Talladega. Wright, Norgard, the top 2 cars leading each row or column. It is now, we're going green once again. Here is the 73 is now leading up once again. Once again, the 73 with the loud pedal now leading that bottom line. Will they jump to the top line? No, they won't. Wright decides to stick to the bottom, and now Norgard is now going to be pushing along the outside. Norgard leading that second lane, as now that bottom line has lots more momentum, as now Norgard is pushing hard as he can to try to gain as much as position or pace as he can to try to gain all that he can. Drivers are now going to be 1 by 1 in terms of their own columns on the track, 2 by 2 by 2 in terms of the rows on the track. As now we see Wrights is now going to be side by side with Norgard. 2 to go here at the Dega 200. As now we see Jesse Story making the big moves. He's going to be pushing Norgard. Will he push Norgard, or will he jump to the top line to see if he can gain position? Norgard is now in the lacked positions now because he has no help from the cars behind. As now he's going to try to keep Annabeth from coming up to the top line. Wright still leading when it comes to the right. White flag, hopefully when it comes around, the white flag is in the air. Final lap for the race tonight. No cautions can prevent the final conclusion of tonight's race. Norgard in the second lane, leading that second lane with Jess Story up behind him. Right, being pushed by Annabeth, the 60 of Annabeth. Will they be able to win? Everything on the line is now the 73 pushing everything he's got. The 60 pushing hard. The 12 of Norgard trying his best. Is now the third line is being formed. It's now the third line is now going to be dying out. Will Jeff Story be able to gain the momentum he needs? Jeff Green trying to think, will the bottom line or the top line be able to beat him up to be pushed beyond? Wright's going to be right there with him. He's going to jump right in front of Norgard. Norgard's going to be able to help his teammate. Will they be? They're coming to the green flag. Norgard, now they're going to be jumping. Now they're going to be turning. Now they're going to be bumping and banging. Now it's who's going to be? It's going to be Michael Hosek at the line, winning the Dega 200. What a finish. Michael Hosek, your winner here tonight of the Dega 200 for the unofficial results. Andrew Hardcastle in the 22 car finishing second, as now we look from the replay to see what exactly happened from that stunning finish here tonight. On board with Michael Hosek is now he's going to be here farther back in the pack here, looking, trying to see what he can do to get the win. He rides that line, gets a little tap, but he keeps control and he comes across the line as the winner of the Dega 200. Farther back, Mitchell Javier there was in that third row pushing hard, trying to see what they can do to get the win. It looked like it was going to be Wrights to win, but too bad, is so sad, is now it's going to be a wreck, huge wreck across the line. As now Mitchell Heavier got launched over a one car. It seems like he went for a ride off of the, I believe that's the 6 down there, to get up in the air from the style of the track. As we see Michael Hosek doing burnouts from the front straightaway. As now we look from the final race results of tonight. Your winner, Michael Hosek from Covered Bridge Racing, is your winner. Andrew Hardcastle is going to be in second, ending out to be the second place. We got Jess Story in third, Jay Connor in fourth, Jeff Green's going to finish in fifth, Kyle Hanshaw in sixth, Leighton Norgard in seventh, Mitchell Javier 8th, Trey Holmes in 9th, Gavin Higgins in 10th, Dominic Wright in 11th, Austin Inabit in 12th, Mark Rebellis in 13th, Dustin Haynes with an awesome fight tonight in 14th here in the Street Limit Racing team. The Connor Thompson is going to be in 15th with JP Phillips in 16th, Hunter Smith in 17th with William White in 18th. Moving farther back, hopefully, we can see the other portions of the grid, which got JD Rasimas finishing 19th with Tommy Ryan in 20th. 21st is going to be Dustin Dorr with Brandon Ultra in 22nd. Corey Abbott's going to be 23rd with Corey Abbott in 23rd, with 24th being David Huckleberry. 25th is going to be also Clay Mitchell running out the top 25. Brian Cardigan is going to be 26th with David Wood in 27th, Michael Michaka in 28th, Raymond Hanneman in 29th, Jeff Ryan in 30th, Carlos Acosta in 31st, Joshua Osborne in 32nd, Trevor Hunt 33rd, David Carpenter in 34th with Frank Thordy in 35th. And rounding out the entire grid is going to be Joshua Personette in 36th. As we're getting ready to bring up the drivers from the top 3 tonight, looks like we got, I believe, the top 3. If we look at the top 3 once again, looks like the third place finisher, we have Jess Story is going to be up in the booth tonight first. Jess Story, this is Thomas Coonan in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I got you.
What a finish, Jess. What a finish. You seem like you had quite the pace tonight, leading up there in the lanes there. I believe mostly up in the second lane. What a finish. How did you keep your car together at the finish, or did you just get banged up and kind of just got lucky with that finish? How do you feel?
I'll be honest, even though we were really, really fast all night, I definitely feel like a lot of it came down to luck. And at these racetracks, that's really what most of it comes down to, is a lot of luck. Definitely it helped that we were up front a lot, and I was kind of a one-man army after Carlos got taken out of that crash, but we were able to capitalize on a reasonable performance tonight and get ourselves a solid top 3 finish. I can't be mad about that.
Absolutely, as luck is a big thing here at Talladega. What was the strategy coming into today's race? We saw a lot of different variation and strategies. We saw certain drivers coming down pit road earlier than others. What was your strategy coming in tonight with your team to see what was the best plan of action?
Yeah, we definitely had a discussion about that before the race, and I told him, I was like, and everyone pretty much agreed on it. Was like, yeah, we're gonna try to run up front as much as we can, because I still feel like even though we were like 3 and 4 wide for most of that stint, I feel like being up front was probably the safest place to be. So that was basically the strategy coming into the whole night, and I'll be honest, I think it kind of paid big dividends for us towards there at the end.
Absolutely. And once again, congratulations on that 3rd place finish. Got any shout outs for anyone tonight or any sponsors tonight?
Yep. Shout out to everybody at RK Motorsports, Carlos Acosta, Darren Staff, my teammates, especially, Carlos. He did a really good job trying to stay in there, trying to, even after he got in that crash earlier in the race, he did a good job trying to stay in there and try to at least, collect some points before he had to be parked. But shout out to him. Shout out to Darren Staff, my teammate. I know he couldn't make it tonight, but he still contributes a lot to this team by making our paint schemes and whatnot. And also shout out to all the league admins, everybody in Elite Racing League, all their sponsors and partners. It's I say it all the time. We would not be able to do this without their support. So definitely, very grateful to be in this league.
Absolutely. There you go. 3rd place finisher, Jess Story. Thank you for coming up in the booth with us.
All right. Thank you.
Moving on to our 2nd place finisher tonight, Andrew Hardcastle, as we bring him up to the booth. Hello, Andrew Hardcastle. This is Thomas Coonan up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yep.
All right, Andrew, what a finish that was. It looked like your teammate of Wright almost won that race, but it seems like you kind of snuck through and got a 2nd place finish. How do you feel about that that shuffling up there on that final lap, causing a huge one coming to the finish line there tonight?
Honestly, just those crazy finish. I was willing to push either Leighton or Dominic's line to try to help one of them win as best I could. Didn't end up turning out that way, as both of them got turning coming into the tri-oval there, and I managed to sneak around it. Pretty happy about the lane I picked at that time, because it got me 2nd.
Absolutely. It looks like it came out to all the luck came out to you. We also saw some variation in strategy tonight. How did the Abbott team's strategy variate from everyone else's? We saw a very unique strategy call from that team. What was your strategy coming in tonight?
So mainly Corey and Leighton were trying to work together up front, and we're pretty much on the same strategy. I'm usually pretty different when it comes to super speedway strategies than most of my teammates, and I'm one of those people that likes to sit at the back and just kind of wait and hope I make it to the end, because it's really not a safe place. But the less people you have to run you over, usually the better is my strategy. Worked out pretty well till we got to go time, and then I got caught up in 2 wrecks, and somehow I went from like 20th or something to 2nd. So it was all over the place for our team.
It does seem to be like that tonight for you guys. Is there any shout outs you have on the broadcast for the folks at home?
To you guys for actually doing the broadcast for playoffs, because we haven't really had that most of the season. So pretty happy that we got broadcast going again. Rest of the admins, my team as well. Corey's face, because this paint scheme, for whatever reason, seems to turn up when it comes playoff time. Did really well last season. So far working out this season, so I hope to keep that going.
Absolutely. There you go. Your 2nd place finisher tonight, Andrew Hardcastle. Congratulations once again of your 2nd place finish.
Thanks.
as we wait for a moment, see if we can get Michael Hossack up in the booth, and it doesn't seem like he's in the Discord currently, so I guess we're gonna have to skip out on the winners cars broadcast / interview. So sorry about that, folks, but hopefully we'll get him next time if he's up in victory lane. Well, there you guys have it. Quite the interesting finish here to the Dega 200 tonight, as we saw some massive wrecks, including the big one, with actually multiple big ones tonight, as we saw some cars getting wrecked out and some perishing and some flourishing from those instances. As we saw Michael Hossack tonight was one of those cars that flourished in the right moment. And there you have it, everyone. Come back, I believe, tomorrow for the Cup race. I wonder where they're at. I believe, I have no idea. Well, anyways, I know they're just racing tomorrow. So come back, everyone, from tomorrow for the broadcast of the Cup Series. And that'll be lovely to help support them in their endeavors. Well, it's been lovely to broadcast for you guys. You guys have a wonderful night. And thank you for tuning in for the Dega 200.